welcome back. I am Dr. RandallBell, and welcome to the Post-Traumatic Thriving Podcast. Tanya Brown, how are you?
Fabulous. This is a great guest.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here with Geri Jewell. If you're one of the 5 people on the planet that have not heard of Geri, easily the most famous, well-known disabled person on the planet. Mm-hmm. And both and I don't want to argue with this again.
I know.
You're both a TV
looking
star.
At your face.
HBO is a movie and movie star. Oh. And more importantly than all of that, at least in my mind, is that Geri has been the source of inspiration in millions and millions of disabled people around the planet. Mm-hmm. We're seeing in episode 1, if you missed that, listen to it, because Geri went through some real certified hell, I think is what comes to mind. Yeah. And we're going to,
for sure.
Geri, we covered in the episode 1, we covered all the way through high school. Mm-hmm. What we'd like to do here is, at least in my mind and knowing you, your survival stage where you kind of got on your feet, came more after high school. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So talk about your high school graduation and then what came into your world right after high school.
Well, like I said, I graduated from high school in 1975 and was put in a sheltered workshop. And then when I failed sheltered workshop, that took skill, let me tell you. Then they decided I was educable and let me go to college instead of finding employment.
Okay.
And I started college, so that fall.
Okay.
But listen to the language there really fast. It's like they had to let her go to college, you know, because times were different back then.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, I don't know how it happened. I mean, I'm still friends to this day with one of the teachers there, Blaine Moss. And I asked him that time and time again, why would that have happened after Troy? And it's just a theory. There's no proof. But I had a head-to-head relationship with one of the teachers in the special ed department. She did not like me, and I did not like her. And we hit heads so many times. And I'm thinking, because she went out of her way to help us kids find employment after high school. I mean, she had to make sure that we were all placed somewhere. And she's the one that had me sent to the sheltered workshop. Mm. And I think it was just to put me in my place. And I think that comes from, I was always out there. I could get in your face. And I think she was envious of that.
Yeah.
Truthfully. You know?
Perhaps, yeah.
She wanted to put me in my place. And well, now this is interesting. It was in my sophomore year, and this was not in the book. This was my sophomore year, and she made me take a class with her. I was like, oh, you're going to take this class, and I'm going to be your teacher, which I despise, but I came every day. And one day, the kids in the class were throwing M&Ms at me. Because I was an easy tease. You got to understand. I had a sense of humor. But this day, I didn't. I was like, I took an M&M and threw it back and hit the kid in the head. And of course, caught. Not the person that tossed the first M&M.
You did.
And I felt she was after me because she let me have it. She goes, you can't even be trusted in the classroom, blah, 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 blah. And I said something that I should have never said. And I don't know why I said it.
Uh-oh.
I'm being brutally honest. I said, you know what? If I were in a wheelchair, you wouldn't treat me the same you're treating me now. Because I can walk. That's why you're picking on me.
Mm.
You let everybody else get away with everything. And she slapped me.
Whoa.
No.
Yeah, she slapped me across the face in front of all the students.
Oh my God.
And anyway, I'm being brutally honest again. You know, the bell rang, all the kids left except me and her. And she said, where do you get off? And I started crying and I can't take this. I can't do this anymore. I can't handle school. I don't know why I did that. Yes, I do know why. She said, okay, I'm going to call your mom and tell her to come down here and we have to make some decision. You can't handle school full time. We'll only have you go to high school a half day. So there's 3 classes that you have to give up. What will they be? And I said, well, your class.
Of course. Duh.
Wrong. Algebra. No. You said I get to pick. And, you know, every class that I wanted to ditch, she wanted me to keep. She said, okay, we were dropping drama.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah. Did you slap her?
All the classes that I loved, she made me drop. And I wanted to get out of the human sexuality class. Forgot. And she wouldn't let me drop that. And so...
Wow.
Those were classes that I was petrified of.
Mm-hmm.
So I think unconsciously, I was doing this to get out of those classes. But it backfired.
I'll say.
In a big way.
I'll say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What it meant was, well, it just meant it took me a little longer to make up for it. Later, after I had my mini nervous breakdown. That really never was.
Well, did you end up having to drop classes, or was it all just...
No, I had to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, today a teacher slaps a kid. And
my God.
You know, it's...
That was nothing back then.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It wasn't that big of a deal. I deserved it for what I said.
I don't know that you did, honestly, actually.
No.
No kid deserves to be hit by a teacher.
But I was out of line to say that you're nice to the wheelchair users, but not the walkers.
Well, you know, still, that's not okay for a teacher to ever lay a hand on a kid.
Yeah. And that's what you were feeling. And being an adult and being a teacher, she should have, stepped back and appreciated that.
Well, what I'm getting out of this is that you were born with a trauma, and then it was layered on with sexual abuse, with abuse from the neighbor down the street, with adults, the bus driver. Mm-hmm. But what I'm also getting out of your story, Geri, is that all the way along, you're kind of developing a wicked sense of humor, and you're also developing a really resilient mindset. Mm-hmm. Whereas a little 7-year-old girl, you're sticking up against, for the 2 disabled kids and against this, obviously horrible adult. I mean, you're developing some real character is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But I guess I never looked at it that way. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're an advocate for yourself. You're an advocate for other people. Yeah.
Okay. So you're out of high school now, and you're in college.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to share about college before we start talking about auditioning at comedy clubs?
Well, I was a theater arts major. I mean, there's, the state rehab was supporting my school at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of balked at that, being a theater arts major. But anyway, I was a theater arts major. And then the head of the theater arts department, Carol Brown. Carol Brown? Is she a relative of yours?
No. Maybe.
Go borrow some money.
I do have a Charlie Brown in my family.
Well, Kalita felt that I didn't have a sense of reality, that I didn't really know what the world was about. And Kalita said that, I used to hate it when she used to say this to me. You're just a baby. You're just a baby. And so Kalita said, you don't know what the real world is like. Go out and get a real job. See if anybody will hire you.
My gosh.
And
Being quashed again.
Where were you in college? I forgot. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Cypress College and to Fullerton College.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And in between Cypress College and Fullerton College, I tried to join the Army. I went to the recruiting office and I told him I wanted to join the Army, and he thought it was a joke. And I said,
and
no.
you were serious?
Yeah. No, I really want to join. Both of my brothers went to Vietnam. I can do it. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of amused. And he said, well, let me put this video in and show you what we do in boot camp. So he puts this video in thinking that I'm going to, oh my God, I can't do that. But it had the opposite effect. I said, oh my God, we did that in special ed.
That's funny.
And he was very, he didn't want to hurt my feelings. And so after I didn't respond the way he thought I was going to respond to his video, he explained that I couldn't join the Army because I obviously had a disability. And it won't work. And I said, well, that's discrimination. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the law. Well, I'm going to write a letter to President Carter. I'm going to tell him what you've done.
Watch out.
And he said, well, I tell you what, Geri, if you get a letter from President Carter saying that I have to enlist you in the Army, you're in.
Oh.
Did you write the letter?
Well, no, this is the deal. I walked out and he came out with me. He walked me out to the curb. And he said, Geri, come back here for a minute. Yes? I thought maybe he changed his mind. And he said, look, we have real strict laws about the Army, but why don't you go next door and try the Marines?
So did you?
No, he smiled. I smiled.
That was cute.
You knew it. He's the thing. You mentioned this many times to me, Geri, over the years, is that people see folks with disabilities and with physical disabilities, and some people make this incorrect judgment that there's a mental incapacity there too. And I'm sure, you've told me you've been through that, where people see your outward physical disability, but inside, we all know that you're very, very bright. The movie business takes a lot of memorization skills. I certainly don't have. Did that come up a lot too, where people just assumed that you were mentally challenged as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's followed me most of my life.
Yeah.
You know, from people thinking that or thinking that I'm drunk or thinking I'm on drugs or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the title of Jerry's book.
Yeah.
I'm walking as straight as I can.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the idea for the title,
I
by
love
the
that
way?
picture.
I'm dancing as fast as I can.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't dance very well, so I changed it.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that picture.
Okay, so you're in college. It sounds like kind of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Well, it was Kalita Brown challenged me because she was right. I was a baby.
Mhm.
And, you know, I was very needy. And I was probably, well, okay, not probably. I was attracted to her on top of it all, Kalita Brown.
Okay.
And I didn't even know what sex was or what that feeling was. I just liked her.
Mhm.
So I had all that going on.
Mm. Okay.
And she felt that I needed to grow up. She goes, if you come back here, I'm going to make sure that you're miserable. Or you're going to go and you're going to grow up and come back an adult. She was right. I left. I knew I could never be an adult at that age.
In an adult what?
So I went to Fullerton College. And no, she was right. I couldn't find employment. So I went to Fullerton College.
Did you like Fullerton College better?
Well, I have fond memories of both campuses, truthfully. In fact, Cypress College gave me an alumni award.
Wow, nice.
That was just incredible. And Fullerton College, Dr. Gerald Hershey, huge impact on my life. I got into his psychology class. He was like just a big old teddy bear, Dr. Jerry Hershey. And the first day of class, I fell down the stairs and busted my wrist and arm.
Oh, no.
And he remembers that day. He said, a kid ran in and said, a drunk student just fell down the stairs, taken to the nurse. So he put two and two together. When I came into his class the following day, he was so sad because, oh my God, she's still drinking. And he became such a major part of my life. Such a dear friend. He was incredible, Dr. Jerry Hershey. One of the things that I loved about him was that he helped me to understand life better. And he told me that he was a drama student at UCLA. I said, but you're a clinical psychologist. Yeah, I know. He said, but I really wanted to be a famous actor. Really? Yeah, couldn't do it. So I became a psychologist. Jerry, you want to be an actress? You want to be a comedian? Do it. Go.
Like you can do it. Go for it.
Yeah. You're only young once. And the other thing that he told me was that he went to school with James Dean and Carol Burnett, my idol.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God.
So Professor Brown, suggesting, go, leave, or stay, and I'll make it miserable for you. But the fact that she said, go and leave, had she not said that, you wouldn't have met this beautiful human being. So everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
He was supposed to come into your life.
And I'm very close friends with Dr. Brown these days.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was out. I'm so blessed. I really am.
Yeah, and I know you started you became friends also. A big inspiration to you is Carol Burnett herself, obviously a huge Hollywood star. When did that start?
That started when I was still at Woodcrest. I was 12 or 13 when I started writing her. And I wrote her so much.
And she wrote back.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, that's so cool.
Every time. And I still have those letters.
Oh, nice.
And I went to the Carol Burnett show. And remember Went with the Wind where she wears the shower curtain? It was classic.
I don't remember. That was with Vicki Lawrence, right? I used to watch Carol Burnett's show with my grandpa.
Well, it was a very, very famous episode. And I was there in the front row. And Harvey Korman and Tim Conway were cracking up, so they had to stop. And I was already agitated. And I was saying to my friend Audrey, because the four of us went together, I said, I can't believe Carol Burnett didn't pick on me. I wanted to ask her a question, when she didn't, I can't believe she didn't call on me. And Audrey said, will you shut up? I just can't believe it. Well, you better think of what you want to say to her because she's coming over here right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, she is not. And she was right here, right in my face.
Oh, that is so cool.
She extended her arm and she said, hi, I'm Carol. You must be Geri Jewell.
Wow.
I said,
fall back.
I should know. So lucky guess. I mean, I wrote her monthly. I have cerebral palsy. I want to be a comedian. I want to be an actress. I said, Carol, can you do one more little favor for me? What? I said, well, I wrote this paper for my English class on you, and I'll get a better grade if you sign it.
It's classic.
Did she sign it?
She signed it.
How you think these things up is great.
You're a gutsy kid. I mean, most kids would be scared to death.
Shy, right? Absolutely. Yeah. But I think she had to fend for, Geri, you've had to fend for yourself your entire life, so I think you're kind of just like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good observation.
You toot your own horn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you, I know from Gloria that you started auditioning at comedy clubs. Was that during college? Or after college?
Yes, it was my last year not last year, but last semester at Fullerton College.
Okay.
I only went 1 year to Fullerton, and then I dropped out and decided to be a stand-up comic.
Which is a really solid career choice because everybody that goes into that is wildly successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was going to Fullerton College at the time, and they had a disabled students department like every other school. And I was sitting in the lobby of that with my friend Alex Valdez, who's blind. And we became friends because we depended on the same transportation home. Mm-hmm. And I was really feeling bad because I was flunking anatomy and physiology. I was flunking another class, probably some science class again, some math class I was barely passing. I said, state rehab is not going to be happy with me. And I don't want to go on to a higher education. I don't want to go to UCLA. I don't know what I want. And Alex said, well, why don't you do what I do? I said, what do you do? I go up to the Comedy Store every week and tell blind jokes. And I said, well, Alex, that may work for you, but I don't know if you can see this, but I can see you very well. And he said, no, dinky face, I'm talking about your CP. And he got me into it.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
So before that, had you thought about comedy, as being a stand-up comic?
No, never.
And so your buddy, he sparked the interest.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Alex is that we shared the same birthday.
That's
What
interesting.
are the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty amazing.
It always takes one person, or not always, it takes one person for the light bulb to go on, right?
Yep.
So that was him.
Yep. And Alex and his driver, John,
Mm-hmm.
took me to the Comedy Store where Alex had been performing for the last year before me. He was older than me. We had the same birthday, but he was older. And so he explained to me that I tell cerebral palsy jokes and you can do what I do with the blind jokes.
Okay.
So we went into the Comedy Store and, they have open mic night.
Mm-hmm.
And I met one of the guys that arranged all that. His name was Danny Moore. And Alex introduced me to Danny. And Danny took it upon himself to have me perform there without Misty Shore knowing.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, because his mom owns the Comedy Store, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Danny didn't want Misty to know that I was performing there because I was so new and so different. He didn't want to risk any preconceived prejudices or discomfort and ruin my start before I even got, some material under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing me a favor.
Yeah.
So I was coming to the back door around 11:30, 12 midnight and asked for Danny. And then he'd know I was there. And as soon as Misty Shore left the room, he would bring me on.
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah.
And how long was it? Tell us about your very first time on stage at the Comedy Store. And by the way, this is on Hollywood Boulevard up in Hollywood. This is a lot of great comedians have gotten their start there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is, or you can wildly fail there too.
Yeah, for sure.
And those, the Hollywood crowd, the LA crowd, they can be harsh.
Yeah.
My first night at the Comedy Store when Danny snuck me on, I was introduced as a he instead of a she because every time you say someone's name is Geri, you assume it's a man.
Okay.
You never expect a woman.
Oh.
And Danny is whispering in the MC's ear, introduce now, Jewell from Orange County, right now. So he didn't know whether I was a female. And he introduced me as a man the first time I ever performed. And he also said, and let's give a big warm welcome for Jewell because he drove all the way from Fullerton to do this. And they applaud and silence.
It's like, what's going on here? Am I seeing right? This is like before the days of pronouns, right?
And I'm hearing impaired, and I could hear whispers. That's a she? No, it's a he. Oh, what if it is a he or she is really fucked up.
I would have loved to have been a fly in that room.
Oh, yeah, it's priceless.
And I don't even know.
Oh, God.
I didn't correct it. I didn't say I was a she. Excuse me, just want to correct it. I let him. Because I was too busy memorizing my lines that I had worked in.
Uh-huh.
So I went, I forget I was a newbie.
Right.
It was the first time I
Your
ever.
very first time on stage.
So I'm standing at the microphone. And I said, I don't know about you people. This was my opening line, folks. I don't know about you people, but I've heard an awful lot about the gays.
About the what?
About the
the
what?
gays?
About the gays that have been coming out of the closet.
What does that have
Oh,
to
my
do
God, in here because she was introduced as a man.
You're way ahead of yourself with gender equality and everything.
Oh, my God.
Now you can hear a pen drop.
Now they're really going.
And then
That's funny.
you can't hear anything. And I said, but what you haven't heard about are all the cerebral palsy people that have been coming out of the closet now too.
Oh, my God.
But don't tell anybody. This is our secret.
Is anybody laughing?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I thought, was anybody laughing? Or was this kind of like,
Well, they just like, what-
I know.
what's
No,
going
I
on?
was teasing you. Yes, they were laughing.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody. Shh. I don't want Anita Bryant to know.
oh, my God.
This is not a politically correct routine.
This is hilarious.
Because Anita Bryant will get on another bandwagon. I guarantee you. She's going to go all over the country saying, we must put a stop to these cerebral palsy people. They should not be teaching in our public schools. They will influence our children. And before you know it, all our children will be like this. That was my opening line on the
First
comedy
night.
store.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious.
I ended up getting an absolute standing ovation.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they just gave me that for having the courage to keep it.
I think what makes, you and other people, just whether, you don't have a disability or not, I think it's just the ability to like laugh at yourself, keep yourself light. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful asset to have. And
Well,
that people appreciate
truthfully,
that.
You're right. And truthfully, that's a lot of my energy. Is that I've always had a sense of humor, and I came from a family with a weird sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a godsend. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're in trouble.
So
Yeah.
true.
Amen.
My
We've
mom
forgotten that.
had
It's like
too.
Led Zeppelin. Does anybody remember laughter? I mean, seriously, we're so afraid of offending anyone or everyone
Yeah.
that we, dial back to
Being
tiptoe around
serious.
in life.
Yeah.
And Jerry,
Throws it out there.
throws it out there, and that's part of your genius,
Yep.
your comic genius, really.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You lighten the room. You make, because being in a room, I mean, with me, I don't care, but a lot of people get uncomfortable with, people with disabilities, like what you were saying, like they tiptoe, like afraid to say the wrong thing.
Of course.
Can I touch you? Can I not touch you? You want me to open up the door because I don't want to insult you, but you just take life by its horns and you're just going for it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Well, I was never told, like, it's very rare, but I learned how to ride a skateboard as a kid.
My God.
And I mean, with obstacle courses that I made with tin cans, I could ride sideways, do wheelies, everything. I did so much on that skateboard and the bike. The skateboard was an accomplishment because my mom was telling my doctor that I zipped through the neighborhood on the skateboard every day for hours and hours and hours. And he thought she was lying. She didn't deny us. She's trying to, your daughter can't do something like that. Mm-hmm. So the next day we came back with my skateboard. Geri, you show him that you can do this. And I zipped all over the place. And he was like, wow. And how did I do it? Because I would get off the skateboard and trip and fall. Mm-hmm. It was like magic. Give me the skateboard.
Well, so I guess what I'm hearing is that you had the courage as a disabled kid to get on a skateboard. You also had the courage to get on the stage at the comedy club.
Yeah, I did.
But here's the big question I got for you, Geri. When you had that standing ovation, and I've been to the comedy club, I don't think I've ever seen a standing ovation. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's a tough crowd.
Yeah.
It's rare, especially in the original room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here's my question for you, Geri. Did you at that moment realize, did it spark this greatness
yeah,
within you?
it was surreal. It was amazing. And I taped it. I still have it on a little cassette tape.
Oh my gosh. We got to
put that on here.
Yeah. Can we
I have to find it. It's in my storage unit.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
To have clips of
yeah.
that.
So, I mean, so you kind of woke up to maybe this little girl who woke up bullied and abused.
And John and Alex bought me there every single week from thereafter. And
wow.
And John used to come up twice because Alex worked in the middle of the week now. I'm the only one that did Monday nights. So they were so supportive of me, both of them.
That's so cool.
And then I had to figure out how I was going to get from doing stand-up comedy and get on television. And so I was reading the TV Guide on a Thursday.
The good old TV Guide.
Yeah, the TV Guide. And it said, Weekend with the Stars, Cerebral Palsy Telethon. There it is. I felt, now I can put my I Love Lucy skills to work here. I mean, I thought, what a perfect opportunity. So I called up production and I said, I'd like to book myself on the Weekend with the Stars Cerebral Palsy Telethon this weekend. Well, agents booked that months in advance, ma'am. Did your agent do that? Well, I can't believe my agent forgot.
Dang dumb.
And he said, well, I'm sorry, we can't do this on such short notice. I said, but you don't understand, I have cerebral palsy. And there was this silence on the line. What? Is that your idea of a sick joke?
And I got more.
And I got more.
More sick jokes.
Exactly.
I said, no. I have cerebral palsy and I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a professional stand-up. Oh, well, let me run that by the executive producer. He'll get back with you. And he called me about an hour later. Miss Jewell, I understand that you have cerebral palsy? Yes, I do. And that you're a professional stand-up comic? That's right. How long have you been doing this? Oh,
2 nights.
about a year and 5 months. Okay. Well, we're all booked for talent, but I'm really curious to meet someone like you. So could you please do volunteer work and answer phones on the telethon this weekend? I mean, how CP'd are you?
How CP'd are you?
Well,
That is funny. How CP'd are you?
How pregnant are you?
how CP'd are you? No, I think what he was getting at, could I answer the phone?
Right, exactly.
And I didn't want to tell him that I was practically deaf. Because I wanted to get on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, I'm not very CP'd at all. And I hear really great. Okay, we'll see you. Your time is 11 o'clock on, I think it was Friday night. Yeah, Friday night at the telethon. So I show up at the guard office and say my name. I'm Geri Jewell. Yeah. Well, I'm on the celebrity guest list. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. And he brings over the other clipboard. There's nobody on Geri Jewell on the celebrity guest list. What do you mean? Wait a minute, hold on. He comes back. We have you on volunteer list to answer the phone. Oh my God, my agent screwed up again.
I love you.
Oh, I can't believe
This agent's screwing up left and right.
Oh my God, I know.
And he felt really bad because obviously it was a telethon for cerebral palsy. You have some empathy for the kid. So he said, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Jewell. Follow the celebrity green line on the and go into the celebrity green room and tell them that your agent made a mistake.
Things are working out for Jerry.
So I go in there and they had a typical SAG form that you had to fill out. And they asked me what shows I was known for. I think I put Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin.
Little white lies. You had watched him.
Exactly. We watched them.
I put some bogus name at my agent.
That is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
And so, then one of the producers came up to me and said, Miss Jewell, yes, we have a problem here at the studio. What's the problem? Well, somebody was supposed to show up right now and answer telephones and didn't show up. We're short one person to answer phones. Oh, I'm
doing it again.
And I knew that he knew that I knew that he knew. I said, Bill, but I want to do comedy. And he said, just answer phones and we'll get the mic over to you and you can introduce yourself.
That's a nice opportunity.
We'll even put you in the celebrity panel. Wow, in the celebrity panel. And he did. Put me with all these stars.
Very cool.
But what I didn't tell him was, there was no way I could hear any of the phone calls. So every time that light went off, I would go to my celebrity friend You want to take You want to
Oh, funny. Oh my God. But you're a creative genius.
Well, did you get a chance to shine that night?
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, people were hanging up on me because they had to repeat how much they were donating. How many zeros did you say?
$25 turned into $25,000.
So it was a disaster to put me on phones. So Greg Malavy, one of the actor who was hosting it locally that day, I called him over to me and I said, Greg, you got to help me. Now, I had never met this actor before, ever. Oh, what's the matter? I said, I have cerebral palsy. He looked at me like, yeah.
And
I said, and this telethon is supposed to help people with cerebral palsy. Well, we do. We're raising a lot of money. Yep, that's not what I need. I need to do stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy? Yeah, I'm a professional comedian. Please. I can't answer the phone. I'm deaf.
I love how you laugh at yourself.
So he came back and he said, okay, Geri, I wouldn't do this for anybody else. But when we come back from this last commercial and the teleprompter, I have one script, but I'm going to introduce you instead.
Shut up.
Really?
That's amazing.
And don't you take advantage of me. You promise no more than 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You go over and you show them what type of a person you are.
Big lesson.
Okay.
Here we go.
And he broke every rule in the book. You know that. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'd like to introduce Geri Jewell. She's from Orange County. Let's give her a big hand. And I did 3 minutes of stand-up on the telethon. Now, what I didn't know at the time was the executive producer of national and local was up in the sound booth when I was there that day.
Wow.
He was up there with Tom Ritter, John Ritter's brother. Mm-hmm. And Tom Ritter and I became close friends over the years. So he told me years later what happened. He said, Greg was supposed to introduce someone else, and he introduced you. And I never heard so many cuss words.
So many cuss words?
Like, who is she? Where did she come from?
And why is she here?
Why is she here?
But what happened, they were ready to murder you, Geri. But the phones were ringing off the hooks. They said, we want to give $100 to UCP because that cute little girl, that funny girl.
Oh my gosh.
And so after I got done with my 3 minutes, the executive producer came rushing down the stairs. He comes up on stage. He said, you know what? I don't know who the hell you are or how the hell you got on my show. But you're damn lucky you were good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
So you sneak on TV. Is this nationally broadcasted, by the way?
What was nationally broadcast?
The telethon.
Yeah. No, because this was local.
Local TV.
Yeah.
So you're in the comedy club, you get on local TV, then what happens?
Then I got called by the Steve Edwards show at CBS, and he was my first interview. After the telethon, he saw it. In fact, what's so funny is that just in the last 4 months, we became Facebook friends.
Oh my gosh.
And he wrote me a private message saying, wow, I remember when I first interviewed you.
Aw,
I have never forgotten you. I am so proud of you.
that's so
So
sweet.
that was so cool.
Especially coming from somebody in the media.
Yes.
That actually brought tears to my eyes just now.
He was my very first
Yeah.
interview. But this is what's interesting is that, don't forget, I'm supposed to be finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
So you at this point, you kind of dropped out of school, hadn't you?
Yeah, but I made a deal with, I left this part out. I made a deal with state rehab. And they kind of did this a little bit under the table. I said, you know what red tape it takes to get back into this program. Can't you keep my case open for 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And just let me try stand up. And if I don't get anywhere, I can slip back into college.
Yeah.
And I'll be mature enough then.
As she's sneaking into comedy clubs and television.
And he said, okay. He let me do that.
That's cool.
So I get on Steve Edwards' Two on the Town.
I remember Two on the Town.
The following 2 weeks later, I get a letter from Sacramento saying, dear Geraldine, that's when they have bad news. Dear Geraldine, congratulations on your success in Hollywood. Your case is closed. And they closed my state rehab.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what I think happened was, as a rehab counselor, you're responsible for placement or employment. And I think someone took credit for employment so that he could get credit for placing me in employment.
Oh. Okay.
So case closed.
Case closed.
But it was not in vain. It was a blessing in disguise again.
For sure.
Because what did I have to fall back on? Nothing now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I have to succeed as a stand-up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're in.
Yep. That was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Scary at first, I'm sure.
I've had so many blessings in disguise. My life resembles a masquerade party.
A lot of disguises. So you're doing the comedy club up in Hollywood, then you get a local TV
Yep.
spot. Then what? Where's it go from there?
Well, I had moved out of my parents' home temporarily, but didn't do well. I just moved to a little apartment with a roommate in Fullerton and didn't know much about money management. I didn't make any money. I just had my Social Security check for disability. And so I failed and moved back in with mom and dad.
Mhm.
And then Alex came around and said that it was time for me to let go of the apron strings. Oh, now we're doing speech therapy. Apron strings. And you're going to move up to LA and become a full-fledged entertainer.
And
So
tell everybody who Alex is.
Alex Valdez was my friend from college who was a stand-up comic and blind.
Right. Yeah.
And I left.
He had a big
Wow.
influence on your life.
Huge.
He did.
Huge.
Yeah.
He did.
But it seems like everybody who came in your life to get you to where you are now was kind of a huge influence. Everybody had a purpose. Everybody had a meaning.
But then that's true of all of us. Every single one of us. That applies.
Yeah, true.
I believe a lot of it is predestined. I was definitely meant to have cerebral palsy. I wouldn't trade it for the world because of what it taught me. It taught me sensitivity. It taught me not to be so prejudiced of other people, to be kinder, more loving, more accepting. Those are heavy-duty, wonderful gifts that I was given. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. If people think that having cerebral palsy is a disability, or being blind, or having to use crutches, or being paralyzed from different areas of the body. But truthfully, all of these disabilities are really just conditions of the human spirit. The human experience here on Earth is that we're going to experience those physical limitations, and everybody has different ones. Nobody's the same. The real disabilities in life are not CP, not deafness, not being blind or an amputee. The real disabilities are hatred, disabilities of the spirit, hatred, prejudice, abuse, I could go on, but they're disabilities of the spirit. Those are the real disabilities in life. This, I think, most of the pain, psychological pain that I've had throughout my life of being different, the disability lies in the perception of me, not me having it. And that's what people don't understand. There's a big difference. How you're perceiving me and how I perceive myself are very different. Same here, and vice versa. So that's what it really has to do with, is how people, I think, it limits me in some ways because they believe that I can't do something and don't even give me a shot at it.
Yeah.
So, I've dealt with this my whole life.
Wow.
You're still kicking. That was really powerful, Jerry.
Yeah.
Very
That's
heartwarming.
like 4 bumper stickers and 3 refrigerator magnets worth of wisdom right there. So I got a question for you.
What?
So during all this time where you're doing the comedy club up in Hollywood, you're starting to get some TV spots. Are you still corresponding with Carol Burnett?
Pardon?
Are you still corresponding with Carol Burnett?
Here and there, not majorly.
Okay.
No.
I just think that it shows remarkable coolness on the part of Carol Burnett to really, Well,
I remember I was on Facts of Life the first year, and I guess my agent called her and told her I had a birthday coming up.
Oh.
And she called me at my home and wished me a happy birthday on my birthday.
That's cool. See, it doesn't take a lot to be nice.
Yeah.
And
so this time the agent really does exist at this point?
huh?
There actually is an agent? You weren't pulling a fast one on there?
Well, so I know enough about the comedy club that with you being a favorite up there, your name's getting bigger and bigger around town. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that is fair to say. It was weird. It was, well, there was something that happened to me early in stand-up years. I think it was, I started in 78. So this must have been 79, late 79 when this happened. But there's a law. There was a law back then, an unspoken law, rather, that if you did the improvisation, you couldn't do the comedy store. And if you did the comedy store, you couldn't do the improv because they were competing. But when you got someone like me who was begging to get work anywhere, I'm going to take it wherever I want to get it. Because I was fighting for time slots. So I ended up working at both clubs. Now, this is how young I was. I was probably 22 at the time. And I was performing at the Improv and got a standing ovation that night. And this really gorgeous man comes up to me in the bar. And he said, "You're star material, kid." And I said, "Wow, thank you." I was so flattered. This beautiful man. And he said, "Cool. You got an agent or a manager?" And I said, "Well, I have a manager." "Well, get rid of him." "Well, I have a contract with him." "So, break the contract. I'll make you a star." "He won't." And then I thought, maybe this will motivate my real manager to try harder. So I said, okay, he gave me his card, and I called him to arrange to meet him for lunch. And he said, well, oh no, he called me. I gave him my number. That's what it was. He called me and said, okay, are you ready? You mean ready right now? Well, yeah. Well, I thought you said yesterday that you were going to call me and we're going to set up a lunch date. Well, see, Geri, see, I'm an adult and you're a child. And adults have to change their schedules from time to time because their lives are very busy. So stop being a child. You know, just would have hit someone because you're trying so hard to prove that you're an adult. Okay. Good. I'm going to come over and pick you up and we'll go to dinner and discuss your career. I'll show you how to be a star. So I'm thinking we're going on a date, a real date. And he picks me up and he takes me to, I think it was Bob's Big Boy or some other little small place in Westwood. And he was dressed in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and I was all dressed up, thinking that it was a date, a business meeting date. And I'm not stunned, He said, he called me. On that phone call, he said, are you ready to go? And that's when I got flustered. I said, well, I can't. I mean, I thought we were going to get dinner together for lunch tomorrow. And that's when he called me a child, blah, 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 blah. And I got scared. I got terrified. For no apparent reason. I said, well, I can't meet with you tonight. Why, Geri? I said, because I had 4 wisdom teeth pulled today.
You just pull these things out of nowhere.
And it's really hard. It's starting to bother me now.
You can turn it on when you want to.
You're so witty.
And he said, then we'll go out for ice cream, little girl. And again, he calls me a little girl. And I said, okay. And I gave him my address when we went out. He takes me to this hamburger place. I don't remember which one. It was in Westwood. And we're sitting there, and he said, the waitress came by to take our order. And he ordered a nice dinner, and he said, she'll have ice cream. She had 4 wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And I go, so then he says to me, he's eating his dinner, I'm eating the ice cream. And he says, Geri, I need to tell you something that's really important. I said, what? He said, I'm dying. This is a strapping looking guy, football player.
Mm-hmm.
Strong, white teeth like chiclets.
Chiclets?
And he says, I'm dying. You mean dying? Yes. I have a fatal disease. I said, what? He made up some long thing that wasn't any real disease. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. But I don't know what to say. Well, I really love you, and I don't have much more to live for. I don't have that much time left on this earth. I'm dying. Well, how much time do you have? And he's looking at me like, I believe it's a stupid question. 6 months. And I said, well, you can do a lot in that time.
Okay.
And then he got mad at me and called me a child again. I want you to know that my wife and my son got killed in an auto accident, and I'm dying of a fatal disease. And I came to you because I thought you were a mature, loving, adult, sensitive woman. But you've disappointed me time and time again. You're a little girl. And I think I've had enough of you. And I'm thinking, oh my God. He's going to tell everybody in Hollywood that I'm a little girl. And we're standing at the cash register, and I got scared of him. Mm-hmm. And I started to back out of the restaurant backwards, and he saw me in the reflection, and he yelled at me in front of everybody, you get back over here right now. And I timidly walked over to him, and he said, and the cashier was looking at him like, mm-hmm. What? And he went like this to his head. I have to look after her. I'm sorry. What do you think it was?
Oh, wow.
And I had no way of getting home. I had to depend on him. So I was kind of stuck. I mean, there was no cell phones. I did have some quarters, so I could have called 911 from a payphone. That's true. So we get out, and I said, can you please take me home? And he said, yeah, I'll take you home. And he passed my house. And I thought, oh God, not again. Mm-hmm. And he parked about a block away from where I live. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, that's right. The child. I keep forgetting you're such a little girl. I'm not a little girl. Yes, you are. If you don't know what we're doing, adults do this, Geri.
Oh no.
And he sexually assaults me, and it's horrible. And he takes off my bra. And then he gets angry at me because he said, you hold your audience in your shaky little hand and they just adore you because you're a child. He was so mad. And he opened the door. He said, "Go find your mommy, little girl." And I'm walking up the sidewalk, holding my open shirt shut, no bra. And he starts running after me. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. He overpowers me. And he ran past me. And he's walking backwards towards my house, and I'm following in front of him. And he said, I don't remember verbatim. I remember being very insulted. He said something to the effect like, "Here, cripple, cripple, cripple."
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And I was mortified. And my apartment was up a huge flight of stairs. And he came behind me. He wouldn't let me go. And I'm shaking, not from CP, but from fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even get my key in the door. And he imitates me.
Oh, God.
And he finally puts it in the door. And before I can open the door, he's holding it shut. He said, "Just remember, Geri, what? You don't tell a single soul that this happened tonight. You understand? Because if you do, I'll know about it real quickly. And I'll destroy your career before it even gets started." And he went down the stairs, and I'm still looking at him, making sure he's going for good. And he pulls his pants down and moons me and left. And I have to tell you that after that, I could not do stand-up comedy for 3 months. I was so terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally did get the gut to call him for time, I got a time at the Improv, and that's where I met this man. Remember? Mm-hmm. So I was terrified. And I went up on stage and I bombed. It was the worst set. It was so bad. And Bud Friedman, who is the owner of the Improv, he came up to me in back of the room and he said, "What was that shit?" "I'm sorry." "Yeah, you're usually funny. And you don't stutter. What's this stuttering shit?" And I said, "Well, I know I don't stutter, but I did not." "Why?" And I said, "Because I was scared. Scared that you'll see," and he named him. "Scared you're going to see Jack King." And my eyes got wide. I said, "You know?" And he said, "Geri, there isn't one thing that goes on under this roof that I don't know about. And this is what I'm going to tell you. If you're going to allow this situation to affect your ability to perform and be a professional, then get the hell out of the business. People get hurt in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Get up on that stage and do your magic. Again, tough love."
Mm-hmm.
He actually believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Work your magic.
Yeah.
I mean, I know enough about Hollywood to know that it's a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the lights and the glitter and the shows and the fun are some really creepy people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a manager that ended up going to prison for other crimes, but he was earning 75% of my earnings before he went to prison. He left me broke. So there was that. Where was I going with that?
Well, just we were talking about some of the ugly side of Hollywood, some of the ugly people in Hollywood.
But the point I want to make is that, yeah, these terrible things happen. But again, I look at it this way. You know, I hate to say it, I really do, but there's a lot of terrible things that happen in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows. Look what's happening in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrid. Okay. But if we walk around in life with our hearts closed, so we don't have to feel that pain, we're never going to feel the good things either.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to open up enough to let the love flow in, because it's give and take, ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I think I have a big heart, sometimes bigger than I should. But I would rather feel the feelings that I do than be numb and not care what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Well, you have more than a big heart. You have the biggest heart, enormous empathy for folks.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're seeing here with your story, Geri, in a really profound way, is that this is a story of something more or someone more than, you know, a girl that grew up in idyllic Orange County and with CP and just got a couple lucky breaks and ended up, you know, being a star. You had to punch through layers of trauma and still go and still go and still go.
But, you know, my mother said something very interesting, and she only gave one interview about me in her whole life. She was so shy. They would want to interview my mom. No. She finally agreed to do it once, but she told the truth. I watched the interview. She said that I always told Geri that if she wanted to be a good comedian, to go for it. Sky's the limit. But I also warned her that great comedians have great pain.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one without the other. So if you're going to be a great comedian, you have to be willing to experience great pain. It's interesting because subconsciously, I think I sabotaged myself on several occasions so I could feel more pain, more pain, more pain, so I can be a better comic. Because I was, you know, when Norman Lear saw me perform in 1980, and I was performing for the second annual Media Access Awards in Beverly Hills, and Fern Field had hired me because everybody under the sun was telling her, there's this terrific new comedian with cerebral palsy. You got to have her on your dinner next week. So I was hired, and Norman Lear and Charlotte Ray were both in the audience that night. And after the show, I got a standing ovation, and Norman Lear came up to me and introduced himself. And he said, you know, you're real funny, kid, but you're way before your time.
Mm.
And I said, so wait a couple months.
And this is Norman Lear, who everybody should know, but is a huge TV producer.
Okay. I didn't know.
Oh, huge. Huge.
Okay.
The tops.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He waited 2 months and cast me on Back to Life.
And that's how it happened.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you know,
Very
this is a
cool.
great time to, because the whole point of this episode is to talk about, you know, the dive stage, which we did in episode 1. Episode 2, this episode is about getting on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a great time to transition and talk about what it was like to star on The Facts of Life, all the wonderful other things you've done. And the trauma doesn't end.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I say that trauma, it's rinse and repeat. It comes back. It just does, but you keep pushing through.
The ebb and flow of trauma.
Yeah. Nicely said. Now I have to go re-edit my book. Thanks.
But you know, what's interesting now, it's like, okay, so with comedians and having great pain, okay, look at Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Jerry Lewis,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
they all battled with depression.
Yes.
They battle with depression,
I know.
you know, or Robin did, you know, so yeah, I guess it's really true with, you know, being a comedian.
Yeah,
It's great
I
pain.
get your point. Jerry, I've never, I mean, I know we all have moments of feeling depressed, but I get your point. It's pain, whether it's depression or some other kind of
sadness.
downer. Yeah. But you know, you're just a living example, Jerry, of just pushing through this stuff, you know, to do something really remarkable. We're going to come back on episode 3 and talk about Facts of Life. Okay. On post-traumatic thriving, where we dive, survive, or thrive.
The choice is yours.
All right. See you on the next episode.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on your favorite social media. For books, merchandise, or to donate, visit CoreIQ.com. Post-Traumatic Thriving is produced by CoreIQ, a nonprofit with a mission to teach the life skills we all need but are not taught in school. CoreIQ and the Post-Traumatic Thriving podcast are for informational purposes only and do not provide medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your licensed medical and mental health care providers.